Hello YouTube friends. Back again on the DMAX F1 channel. In this episode we will bring you the latest news about Red Bull technical leadership under pressure. Is Watch still under control? And Red Bull are about to make surprise Liam Lawson decision for the 2026 season as driver plans being finalized. Don't miss important information that we have summarized accurately and reliably, directly from valid sources. Come on, let's start the news. Red Bull technical leadership under pressure. Is Watch still under control? While Christian Horner is ultimately responsible and the public face of Red Bull Racing, the team boss has little to no direct influence on the technical direction that is chosen. For this, Pierre Waché, the French technical director whose operation is being increasingly critically monitored in the Verstappen camp, has been appointed. Pierre Waché often is the first to walk out from behind the Red Bull garage at the end of an F1 session, on his way to a motorhome where the technical briefing takes place. In the last year, these have proven to be meetings where quite a few harsh words have been spoken, including from Max Verstappen, when the RB21 did not perform as hoped. For a while, Waché's team has been busy trying to find solutions to the main problems of the Red Bull vehicle, especially the difficult balance to find and the high degradation of the tires. No matter how hard they think and how hard everyone tries, the silver bullet has not been found. With the season almost halfway through and the focus increasingly on 2026, the question arises whether that silver bullet will ever be found. In the Dutch camp there is no such confidence. Yes, improvements will undoubtedly be thought of, but they will never be enough to catch up with McLaren, let alone surpass it, so is the expectation. This feeling is fueled by several interviews Waché gave in different media recently, from which, according to the Dutch, it emerged that he basically doesn't know what the right next steps are. Even stranger, they think, Waché indicated that he could actually learn from Racing Bulls, Red Bull's little sister team. This statement raised eyebrows in the Dutch camp as DMAX F1 learned, because it sounds very odd. Red Bull Racing, with all its financial power and the so-called best people in its ranks, having to learn the tricks from the neighbor? Such a remark from Waché sounds more like a certificate of incapacity than it does inspire confidence for the near future, this website has heard. Because it's also Waché who leads the group of people designing and building the F1 car for 2026. He did indeed do the same for the 2022 season, the last time the technical regulations were overhauled, but then the Frenchman could still rely on the genius of Adrian Newey. There's no longer such a strong sounding board within Red Bull, so everyone looks to Waché. Will he manage to give Verstappen a car again with which the Dutchman can compete for world titles? With keen interest, the Dutch camp is closely monitoring the development of the current RB21 and the future RB22. Verstappen will not leave after this season, as DMAX F1 recently heard. But not being successful in 26 could make that a different decision taken in 12 months. Red Bull are about to make surprise Liam Lawson decision for the 2026 season as driver plans being finalized. Red Bull have reportedly made an informal decision about their 2026 driver lineups. They are one of the few teams without contracts in place for next year. While he signed a deal until 2028, Max Verstappen's contract contains an exit clause. It would of course be seismic if he left, but there's no firm indication that will happen. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda is approaching the end of his deal and his future hangs in the balance. Since replacing Liam Lawson at the top team, he hasn't delivered. Tsunoda has scored just 7 points in as many races, and while this represents a slight upgrade on Lawson, it's still below expectations. The New Zealander himself has struggled to recover from the historic blow of being dropped after 2 races and sits 17th in the championship. By contrast, Isack Hadjar is flying. He scored an outstanding 16 points across the recent triple-header to climb to 9th in the championship, strengthening his status as one of the year's standout drivers. According to a report from Auto Motor UND Sport, the driver pairings are already taking shape at Red Bull next year. They are of course in a unique position with 2 interlinked teams. As it stands, the plan is to promote Hadjar from Racing Bulls to partner Verstappen. This would come at the expense of Tsunoda, who leaves the team entirely. Honda, who back Tsunoda, are parting with Red Bull at the end of the year and building engines for Aston Martin instead. On performance alone, they feel he hasn't done enough to stay within the program. Surprisingly though, Lawson could hold on to his spot. Rookie Hadjar has beaten him in 12 out of 13 competitive sessions, but clearly Christian Horner and Helmut Marko still have some faith in him. The 4th and final place will go to F2 high flyer Arvid Lindblad, who's just been granted a super license by the FIA before his 18th birthday. The Briton will naturally put both Lawson and Hadjar under pressure, such is the culture at Red Bull. The report adds that only Verstappen leaving would complicate matters at Milton Keynes. But no one at the team dares to consider that possibility. Even with more than half the season remaining, they aren't expecting a sudden drop-off or surge from any of their drivers in their roster, the kind that could force a rethink. There had been talk in the paddock that Lawson could lose his seat mid-season, so it would certainly be a shock to see him on the grid next year. He's arguably been one of the poorest drivers in F1 in 2025. The consensus is that Lawson won't return to Red Bull after his disastrous stint. There's perhaps little reason to keep him around on that basis, but the team must feel that Lindblad is the only junior who's ready for F1. Should he continue in the seat without any real promotion prospects, he risks becoming the next Pierre Gasly, who stayed for another 2.5 years after being dumped from the marquee team.